Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. And our co-host, Alex Grossman, is on assignment. And we have our co-host, Lindsey. Man.
Hi, Brien. How are you?
I'm doing great. We have a very, very good show, as always. For people who have never listened to the Ask Brien show, I really don't know what to tell people anymore. I mean, everyone that I've ever spoken to about the show, and I've spoken to a lot of people, they understand what Ask Brien's all about. Ask Brien, and by the way, how does anyone spell Ask Brien? There's only one way. AskBrien. Because Brien is spelled with an E, not with a Y-A-N, not with an I-A-N. People that are spelling their names with those names, I'm sorry, Brien with a Y or Brien with an I. There's only one way to spell it, with an E. Why? E is excellent. That's why you spell Brien with an E. AskBrien.com. AskBrien.com radio is affiliated with the Ask Brien website. Ask Brien website is a business community whereby entrepreneurs and other business people can ask business questions to other business people that may have had the same problem. So if you're a dry cleaner in Atlanta, Georgia, and you're a dry cleaner in, I don't know, maybe Butte, Montana, you can ask the same question, and somebody may have had the same experience. But we also have experts. We have experts that are basically have to apply to become an expert. You must have 10,000 hours in one subject matter or have some type of a supernatural duper ability. And in fact, our guest today doesn't really have 10,000 hours, I don't think, but she does have super duper natural ability. So we're going to be with her very shortly. The Ask Brien website also includes webinar schedules so that people can find a webinar. Hey, I don't know anything about Facebook marketing. I don't know anything. How can I make money on Instagram? I don't know what I'm doing. I have a website. I want to design it. I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do? You can watch a webinar on any one of those subjects. Every expert is allowed to post videos, allowed to post blogs, allowed to post their ebooks. Any information that person has that's an expert can be posted on the Ask Brien site. Plus, they get the ability to schedule their webinars on the Ask Brien webinar scheduling system. So therefore, which we notify people of upcoming webinars. So it's a great way for people to learn anything. And if you don't know the answer to the question, it's not on a webinar, you can ask an expert. You don't know, can't find the expert in your area, ask the business community. Somehow, Ask Brien solves problems. That's what we do. We solve business problems. That's what Ask Brien is all about. How do we spell it? AskBrien.com. All right. Without any further ado, we have a very, very special guest who I told you, I don't think she has the 10,000 hours, but she has the natural expertise in all things marketing, and she's a consultant. She has her own firm, and her name, Lindsey?
Is Isabella Silverio. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Well, it's Silverio, but I think. But go ahead.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, hi, Brien. Thank you so much. Hi, Brien and Lindsey. Thank you so much. You almost got it right. It's Silverio, or Silverio, and if you're a native Cuban Spanish speaker. But thank you so much for having me.
I'm a New York speaker.
Oh, that's great.
I love soda.
And I'm LA, for sure.
I love the way people in LA talk. It's nice and slow.
She's a valley girl and a mountain girl. Anyway, we're back. So, couple questions. Nobody knows who you are yet, so I wanted to go over your background a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what I saw in your profile is, when did you first start in business?
I mean, to really answer that question honestly, I feel
we like honesty, but go ahead.
We like to keep the story straight. I mean, I really feel when I officially started my business, my consulting company was in 2017. I was 21 years old, so I've been doing this 2 years. But I feel like many entrepreneurs, and I really love what you said earlier about that this show is about solving problems, because I really believe that being an entrepreneurship, the foundation is to solve problems for other people. So when I feel like I've been solving problems for people, since the day I was kind of born and really understood what money was and knew that I wanted a lot of it. So, yeah, so I mean, I started the consulting business when I was 21 years old. But before that, one of the first things I did was sell candy bars out of my book bag right outside of the vending machines in middle school for 25 cents less than what the vending machines was selling for. I would buy sour gummy bears and chocolate bars and even pencils. I would just sell anything for a little bit less, and I used my mom's money.
That was my first store. I hate to interrupt, but that was my first store. I had a candy store when I was 12 years old outside of my friend's garage, and we stayed in business for 2 years until somebody came by and said, "I don't want candy, I want something to eat." And we went into the kitchen, took out the dinner, and served it to his friend, and then the mother said, "You're out of business because you're not taking our dinner anymore." So. That was my friend.
Yeah, it's something that's really exciting when you hear that someone has a need and you say, okay, you have a need, you have a problem, let me go ahead and solve it. And I really feel that's really the foundation of how I became a 23-year-old CEO now. And after that, when I was in high school, there was this really big trend of arm candy. I don't know if you were familiar, in 2012, 2011, but arm candy was basically when women had watches or bracelets on them, and they would just tag it on Instagram and say, "Those are my arm candy." It's like a collection of bracelets or watches and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, that's a cool trend." So at the same time, the rise of Etsy, which is an online marketplace store, was just getting started. And I would order bracelets online from Alibaba or something. Sorry, Etsy, I didn't craft my own bracelets. Some of them I did, but a lot of times I upworked them, and I would repaint them or add strings to them or add more diamonds or anything like that. And I became one of the first top sellers on Etsy. And at 17 years old, I was able to make $20,000 in just under 3 months. And I had to employ my mom and my abuelita and my neighbors to help me package all the bracelets, print out all the labels. They would drive me. I didn't have a car. They would drive me to the post office. We were this big production, and it kind of came to the point of I don't really want to be doing bracelets anymore. This is a really fun run, but I'm getting a lot of customer support, and orders were just getting too big, and then Etsy just became really overcrowded. But I took the money. I used it to buy myself a computer. I used the money to apply for colleges, help pay for my first year in the dorms in school. And then I started college, and then I went into startups. So I applied to as many startups as I could. I went to University of Florida. I forgot to mention I'm from Miami, Florida. Went to University of Florida. It's a very entrepreneurially minded university. And from there, I probably joined around 10 to 15 both U.S. and global startups. I would help with technology, app building, really understanding millennial buyer behavior. I would help a lot of boutiques from my hometown in Miami, and just building up websites, building up apps, creating flyers, passing them around, knocking on doors in Gainesville. I was really in it. It was real startup mentality, startup mode, staying up all night, either building code, building sites, creating marketing strategy, email funnels, everything, the whole deal. And I love startup. I love the community I was in, but it wasn't until I had a really unfortunate experience in this one startup where my ideas and opinions were not as valued as my male counterparts. So it was a really unfortunate event, but I didn't want to project that, the startup it's like a dude frat house mentality, because not every startup is that way, but this one in particular was. So like any independent woman, I just got up my stuff and I left, and I decided, my efforts are better put into something else. I, at this point, was 20 years old. I let about 3 or 4 months pass by. I was still in college, junior in college at this point, and I was always working full-time. I would roll pitas at Pita Pit. I worked at an elementary school, but at the same time, I was always craving something more. I always wanted to have skin in the game in some business, in any type of business. So when the right startup didn't really I didn't find any new startups that were interesting to me, I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and said, okay, I guess I'll start my own. I know enough about social media and millennial buyer behavior and creating websites. I bet what I know is valuable to other women entrepreneurs, so let's go ahead, build a website, file for an LLC all in the same day, and now it's turned into a multi-six-figure empire.
Well, that's a lot of stuff there. So first of all, when you talk about you were working for these startups, were you actually interning for them? Were you providing one area of subject matter for them? What were you, when you mentioned startups in that nature, you said there were a lot of startups there and the startup community.
Mm-hmm.
Were you providing a product or a service to these startups? What exactly were you doing?
Yeah, so most of the startups were either student-founded or they had a stronger ground and they had offices up and around Gainesville. So a lot of startups I was working inside of were service-based primarily. So one of the startups I worked in was a grocery delivery service because, again, we're talking 2015, 2016 when this was happening, and Postmates, Uber Eats. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, but Uber and Postmates weren't really normalized, and especially not in Gainesville, Florida. So students needed groceries delivered because a lot of college students don't have cars. The grocery store is a little bit farther away, so we developed an app that would help people get groceries delivered to their dorm rooms. We also allowed people with disabilities, if the delivery fee would be waived to them as well. We started a foundation with that. And I was also part of another startup that was an app where it was sort of like Uber, what it is now, but it was for long-distance drives. So it was if a student is also heading to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, then students can kind of hitch a ride, and you would have to have a university email address to join the apps, to keep it safe and to keep it really for the younger people who need this need, because a lot of them didn't have cars, a lot of them didn't have resources, and every single one of them was on a budget.
Now, I don't want to go into too many of these, but let's just go over one. So, did you just apply to become part of this startup? Were you one of the founders? How did you even find out about that type of startup?
Yeah, so when I was in the University of Florida, the business school is very, it's very, if you're involved, people often recommend you. I just kind of became this business entrepreneur celebrity kind of thing. And then anytime someone needed a marketing lead, they would either contact me. Some startups I applied for, some startups it was my friends who were starting it, and I just kind of came in and consulted or led the team or created graphics. But it was a mix of either applying or word of mouth, people wanting to work with me.
So let me ask you a question now. What's your website again?
Sure. My website is www.isabellasilverio.com.
And what do you offer on that? You use the word consulting, but that is a very generic and broad definition. So
absolutely.
Explain that.
Absolutely. So now what I focus in is helping online service providers really make a personal brand and also an online business using either social media as a vehicle and or personal branding. So I help online service providers. This can either be online health and wellness coaches, it can be online therapists, it can be other online business coaches, people who create systems for other businesses. Really helps them stand out in the niche because social media is really crowded. Especially with Instagram, people don't know how to optimize their Instagram profiles using hashtags, using content creation methods, because content really is king now if you want to have an online business. You have to be putting out, I don't know, it depends on what you're really trying to scale to, but between 5 and 10 pieces of content a week. I put out probably 25 to 35 pieces of content per week, and it's all value-based. So what you do is you're creating valuable-based content. An example of this would be a blog post. So a blog post is either a recipe or a workout or something that a reader would find valuable that they can implement in their everyday life, get a quick win from. And then you can monetize off of your own expertise. So if you know a lot about health and wellness and you've been creating all this free content, I can help you create a program where you can not sell your own information, but really attract clients who are willing to make a change in their own health. So you would create a online fitness program for them, or you can have therapy sessions with them if you're an online therapist. But it's really funneling people from value-based content into high-ticket sales.
Okay, but there's hundreds of millions of people out there, hundreds of millions of websites out there, and probably health and fitness is probably a very crowded area, if I'm going to guess. Okay, so let's say there's 5 million sites. Okay, you're talking about content. You're not going to get to number one, for quite a while. Okay, and you probably don't have the resources to do that. So you've got this idea that hey, listen, I've researched a couple of subjects. Maybe hormone fitness stuff, whatever. How am I going to, it's going to take me at least 6 months before I might get one or two of my words SEO'd, whatever. How can you possibly attract business just by content or creating content? How is that going to help you?
Yeah, so what our intention is with my clients in either group programs, one-on-one, or in my courses is that we're not trying to get to number one, right? We're not trying to use all the perfect SEO words, all the buzzwords, all the keywords to get to number one. What we're trying to do is create a community of people who are following our content, who are obsessed with keeping up with us and really establishing ourselves in our own particular niche. Because with the internet, obviously, it's very, very profitable if you want to make 6 figures in an online business, which is a really amazing fleet to be able to achieve between 8 to 10K months per month in your online business. All you would need to do is maybe close between 5 to 10 clients per month at a $1,200 a month rate. So we're not talking volume, we're talking high ticket clients who have followed your content, gotten so much value out of it, and when you come out with a product or a program that has so much more value, and they'll be able to work with you in a more intimate space, whether through calls or through or a group vehicle, then the value is really there, and that's where the transformation can really happen. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I do have one further question on that. And by the way, Lindsey's plotting. She can't wait to ask the 500 questions she's got, but we're going to probably have to wait till after the break because I'm a lawyer and I talk a lot. Anyway, getting back, that's great, but even to get 5 or 10 clients like that, okay, they have to find you. They have to know you. You may have the best content in the world, but nobody knows that. How are people going to find you?
Well, by putting yourself out there, right? And social media, Instagram, they prioritize people who are being social. They are prioritizing people who are using the platform the way that it's tending to be used. So it's important that you're not just putting out content, throwing spaghetti at the wall with your blog posts, with your Instagram captions, with maybe your freebies or your courses, but you need to be creating a community, and you need to be a leader in your own community. You need to be bringing these people together, the people who have been following your content, right? And putting them in your own intimate space. So whether that's inside a Facebook group where you can further nurture them, whether that's inside an Instagram pod sometimes, what you need to be doing is essentially creating a community of people who follow your content and be inviting people to join your programs, inviting people telling them that, hey, I have this to offer. And it's not going to happen overnight. It never really does to land 5 clients in a month. But that's why we're entrepreneurs. We're always tweaking. We're innovating our content. We are finding out what works best for our brand with messaging and client attraction methods. And we're not giving up as soon as we just pitch once and no one kind of walks in the door. It's going to take a few times.
Well, we're going to be taking a break very shortly. We're going to be right back with Isabella Silverio.
Live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia. Come in and try our great tasting smoothies, protein shakes, acai, and wheatgrass for your healthy lifestyle on the go. Also, enjoy our 10 flavors of tantalizing zinc frozen yogurt and selection of healthy toppings. Juice It Up Valencia is located at the corner of Newhall Ranch Road and Copper Hill Drive in the Office Depot Plaza. Open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Sundays from 8 until 8. And remember to live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia.
May is National Foster Parent Appreciation Month. Be a resource to a child and their family. Children's Bureau is holding a foster care adoption monthly information meeting this Saturday, May 18th at 10 a.m. at the Children's Bureau's Valencia office, 27200 Turney Road, Suite 175. Become a resource parent and be the reason a child is safe, happy, loved, and thrives. To RSVP, call 208-4212 or visit allforkids.org. That's all, the number 4, kids.org.
She's one of country music's most beloved artists, and she's coming to Santa Clarita. It's Academy of Country Music Award winner, Sarah Evans. At the Canyon Club in Santa Clarita on June 4th. She's sold millions of records, has been at the top of the country charts 5 times, and has just released her 8th studio album, Words. It's Sarah Evans. And featuring our own Savannah Burrows. Sarah Evans with special guest Savannah Burrows, June 4th at the Canyon Club in the Valencia Town Center. Baby, there's no place that far. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Something big is coming to Castaic.
Is it a dinosaur, Bob?
No, Blanche.
Is it the 2020 Olympics?
No.
I know. We're finally hosting the World Cup.
No, silly. They're building Castaic High.
Bob, no way.
Go visit CastaicHighProject.com. You'll get all the latest details.
What's that web address again, Bob?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Again?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Bigger than a dinosaur?
That's right. CastaicHighProject.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 in 98.1 FM, and you're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show. And how do you spell Ask Brien with an E? BRIEN.com. Well, we have a very special guest today. She had a very, very young age. I mean, I can't even remember when I was that age. It was like, I'm trying to think back. Yeah, what was that? No, don't remember. Anyway, she has a wealth of experience at a very young age. The newest expert on Ask Brien, by the way. And that's quite an accomplishment to be able to be an expert. And she has quite the background, quite the experience. We're listening to or speaking with Isabella Silverio, and we have our co-host, Lindsey. Not an E, by the way. Man.
Thank you, Brien, once again. Isabella, so I'm just totally overwhelmed. This is amazing information. So I know nothing about Instagram. Tell me, how can I get started using Instagram?
Absolutely. So this is something that is probably the number one question I get asked in my DMs, in Facebook Live, from my clients. And the first, if we're going to check some boxes, the first thing you do is obviously make a profile. If you've already have one, great job. You've already skipped a step. But the next step is to really optimize your profile. So if someone were to glance at your Instagram, is it going to answer the questions, who are you, what do you do, who you help, and what is the result? What are you actually helping your clients achieve from working with you? So, for example, my Instagram bio says, I help online entrepreneurs make high-ticket sales through Instagram. It's very clear. We're not trying to be clever. We're not trying to add some useless facts about how much we love bird watching or Target or Starbucks. We're trying to keep it really, really on brand and really actionable so people understand what it is that we do when they first glance at our Instagram profile. Think of it as if you're window shopping. If people are window shopping, the profile is the first thing they see, so it has to make a clear and good impression. Another thing, too, is if you want to be building a personal brand, if that's something that you really want to aspire to be, you want to do speaking, maybe you want to write a book, you want to be working hands-on with clients, then make your photos in your feed and inside your profile picture really clear. It's 2018. Please upgrade your iPhone if you're still on iPhone 2. It's time to kind of create better content. It's just proven that clear, crisper, brighter photos get higher engagement, and they're going to convert a lot better, and more people are going to be paying attention. So having photos of you within your feed is going to go a really long way, because it's going to be building brand recognition. Another fun fact, I guess, is to just avoid sunglasses or pictures with your hair in your face, because it's just not clear and you're not going to be making eye contact, and that's a missed opportunity for connection.
So I have to get rid of my my BlackBerry?
Oh, you're still on the BlackBerry, huh?
I just had to put that in there.
So you can use Instagram for a multitude of things. I thought Instagram was just you go on, look at pictures and just kind of, look at different things that you've never seen before. But so how do you find followers? Do you follow people? How do you create traction?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And you're so right that Instagram for the longest time, especially when I first got on it, was just pretty squares, colorful pictures of dogs, pictures of a lawn with a chair, like a lemonade or something. It was just pictures of people's daily life. And a lot of profiles now are still like that. But with the rise of online business and entrepreneurs, especially millennials, feels like every millennial is popping up and becoming an entrepreneur, this really created this huge space and community inside of Instagram, inside of the platform, for people to really build a personal brand and get involved inside the entrepreneurial online business community. So if you want to be getting in front of more of those types of people, the best way to do it is to really start socializing and engaging with those types of people. So obviously following people that inspire you, other business owners, other people in your industry is a really great place to start, but also engaging with the people who engage with them. It's, again, creating your community, creating your niche, so that way you're always having people coming back to your profile, looking at your window, seeing if they're interested. Maybe they'll follow you, and then from there they consume your content. And then from there, if you want to if you're launching a new program, a new course, or a new service, you can go ahead and announce that on your Instagram profile, and you'll never know who's going to bite.
Is it Instagram that has, is it all of these features that people are able to utilize on Instagram, which has made it stand out as opposed to Facebook or Twitter or other social medias?
You said the difference between Instagram and Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, so why use Instagram as opposed to Facebook or Twitter or other?
Okay. Yeah. So Instagram is just it's one of those platforms where you kind of get in and out whenever you'd like, and it's just the way people use the platform for each Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are all just really different. I feel Instagram is a lot of instant gratification. So again, you want to have content that is really easily digestible, things that people are going to kind of you have maybe less than 2 seconds to capture someone's attention with either a post or a story or a picture. So you have to make it really enticing, and you have to make it very digestible and give them those tips. The way people really behave on Facebook, they're normally on there longer. They always have it open on their computer. So you can use longer form content. You can build your own communities in there and further nurture. For example, I have a lot more followers on Instagram than I do inside my private Facebook community. But that's a really great thing, because I know the people who are inside my private Facebook community are the ones who are constantly being nurtured by me. They are interacting with each other in there, and I'm leading that community. So it's, again, refunneling people in. And Twitter, I honestly don't have one. I just know it's really great for news. Celebrities are always on there. There's always drama happening on Twitter. I think I have an account, but I don't really use it actively.
Is there a difference between nurture and engage?
Right. So a way you engage with someone is by commenting on their pictures, watching their stories, sending them a DM. And nurturing is, again, just kind of answering their questions if they pop you one, or putting them inside another community, another vessel where you can further answer their questions. Or if you want to go live inside your Facebook group, they'll be more likely to watch it, just because people are normally on Facebook more than they are on Instagram.
So like groupies.
So like what?
Groupies,
Yeah.
Let's follow the band.
Are listening in right now.
So if people, if they're very novice about using the Instagram platform, they can work with you, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that's the best part about the internet is so many things are great about the internet. But I created a product suite of courses that people can work with me at really at any, financial investment. I have amazing products starting at $35, and then my private coaching goes all the way to up to $30,000. So whether someone wants to learn about hashtags or selling on Instagram, creating pretty pictures, editing their photos, creating long-form captions, those are in the form of like my passive income courses, which you can find on my website and love and have access to me as well if you purchase them. Or if you really want to work with on a one-on-one basis, I normally work with people who are a little bit more advanced, have had a few clients, they found them through social media before, but I always teach, I'm teaching beginners all the time, especially inside my private Facebook group. There's so much knowledge in there. There's so much information that I really like to use that group over Instagram just because Instagram, again, it's people are coming in and out all the time. Like what you mentioned earlier, it can be a little bit more of a crowded space, but if you are someone who your follower kind of looks up to and they're always looking forward to your content, they're going to consume it no matter what.
Is there a Facebook closed group or open group?
Excuse me?
Is your Facebook page a closed group or an open group?
It's a closed group, but we accept everyone who comes in, and the name of it is the Instagrowth and Sales Squad by Isabella Silverio. We accept everyone in, but you can just request to join, and in there you'll have access to like so many mini trainings, so much content, my live streams. You can ask questions in there, and I call them my Guava Girls, because that's kind of me. I'm Isabella.Guava. My company's Guava Empowerment. And my fellow Guava Girls, they answer questions for each other. They're always helping each other out. It's a really empowering community, which I'm very, very proud of.
That's awesome. So that was that $30 a month, $30,000 to $30,000 a month, or is that an annual kind of thing?
Yeah, so the $30 product I'm talking about is like my hashtag matrix, which is a collection of over 5,000 unique high-growth hashtags. So that's something that people are always really confused about using when it comes to Instagram. How do I use hashtags? What do they do? And hashtags are a really great way to have your post get more engagement, more likes, more comments, because it's going to be putting you in front of more people who are using said hashtag. So I recommend using hashtags in all of your posts, and I have a collection of like about 5,000 now in over 100 categories. There's literally a category for everything under the sun, for like coffee, pillows, online business owners, bird watchers, everything. And then my $30,000 program is 6 months of private coaching with me.
And for that private coaching, for the $30,000, how much time do you get per month?
You get 1 hour weekly with me.
Okay.
And access for like chats. I call it like customer coaching chat support, where my clients can, it's called Voxer. They can Voxer me with their questions and give me updates and receive further support.
Do you teach people how to manage their time while they're trying to learn how to use this? Because I can see how that would be.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, as an online entrepreneur, work-life balance is one of my unique perspectives where I don't necessarily believe in a work-life balance, but I do believe in a work-life blend. Just because when you're an entrepreneur, when you work for yourself, when you have a business, when you're building an empire, no matter what, whether you're out on a date with your boyfriend to the movie theater or you are hanging out with your children, you're always going to be somewhat attached to your business. And I feel the whole expectation of a work-life balance is just setting yourself up for failure. Because no matter what, if you open up your phone, you're going to go on Instagram, you can shut it off. And I normally shut off my phone every night by 7 p.m. But I think it's just very unrealistic to have a full balance. It's more like a blend. It's the idea of being okay, that you are kind of attached to your business on a regular basis. And like, for example, creating content could be so hard. I have a professional photographer now, but that wasn't always the case for the first 2 years of my business. So when I would get dressed up and me and my boyfriend would go to the movies or something, I would say, hey, like, would you mind just taking a picture of me really quick? Like, I want to post it on Instagram. And normally some boyfriends, they get annoyed by that. Victor is very, very sweet and understanding. But it's that mentality of like, hey, content creation is such a big part of what I'm trying to do in this online space. I want to use Instagram to get sales, and I have to create content to do that. Would you mind just taking a picture of me really quick? We'll put our phones away after. But that's really what I mean by a work-life blend. It's not getting rid of the idea that, oh, it's not work hours, I'm done working. We're always somewhat connected.
You have quite a wealth of information and quite a bit at a very young age. How were you able to accomplish that?
My mom is so smart.
Should I interview her next?
You should. She was also a journalist. She was a journalist. She's an incredibly intelligent woman. I owe so much of who I am and what I do to her. I grew up in a home where it was never you can't do that. There wasn't so many limiting beliefs. There were limiting resources and limited money, but there weren't limiting beliefs. I grew up always believing that I could do whatever I wanted. I could achieve anything. Yes, I did have to go to school. That was like her non-negotiable, but she has always empowered me, always encouraged me to chase after my dreams.
Absolutely. Gotta love Mom. So
yeah.
What were the challenges that you had to overcome, would you say? What are the biggest challenges?
So, I mean, a lot of the time it's mindset. You know, there's always, I feel when you wake up in the morning, there's like so many fires to put out. Our minds are always lingering to what we have to be doing next. It's always about how do I get on the next rung on the ladder? How do I get on the next step of success? And being okay with the fact of, okay, where I'm at right now is good. Like I am good right here, right now. It's always a constant challenge I always face. But things I had to kind of overcome when I was younger was, again, just believing in myself, not taking I didn't want to curse, SHIT from other people. I've lost some friends. I've always just been very heavily ambitious. And looking back, I feel that ruined a lot of my friendships and relationships just because it either intimidated or I just took it too much of a priority. I put my dreams before things that normally now I value the importance of so much more.
Awesome. Has anyone ever told you you can't do this or you're crazy?
Every day, probably, but go ahead.
I mean, no one that mattered, you know?
Right.
Good answer. Good answer.
No one that mattered. It wasn't, the people who mattered don't mind, and the people who mind don't matter, right?
Right.
Well, and also, you know, the friends you pick your friends to a certain extent. You know, you're not going to hang out with those friends or become very close friends to people that don't share some of what you share, right?
Right, correct. I've always been really picky about my friends. My inner circle is really tight, really small. I'm also just not the most, I don't like to have a big group of friends. Like, I'm probably not going to have any bridesmaids. I'll have, like, one or two, my two girlfriends. But yeah, I've always been someone who keeps it really tight, really close, focus on family, focus on myself, focus on my dog.
Well, you got to have a dog.
Absolutely. That's how I do it. That's who I do it for.
So what do you say to people that say, because there are a lot of people out there that will say, hey, listen, to accomplish things, you need to go to college. And yet you got people like Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, pretty successful people out there that didn't go to college. Now, they may be the unicorn exception. Obviously, they are, correct? But you know, do you think in today's society with online, okay, that you absolutely need to go to college? Or can you just say, you know what, I'm 18, I want to be an entrepreneur, it's going to be tough for me, but, you know, let me give it a shot for a couple of years on my own, and if I can't make it, then maybe I'll use that as a safety net.
Yeah, I think this is a really good and valid question. My personal belief with this is I really valued my experience in college. I got a lot of startup experience. I was challenged. I moved away from Miami, which if you're Hispanic is like a really big deal. Like, you don't leave the nest until you get married. So for me, it was very, very valuable to learn how to live on my own. And if I didn't go to college, I wouldn't have never done that. So I think it really is a case-by-case basis. If my future child wants to never go to school and wants to be an online business owner, I would need to really see whether or not I would approve that decision based on like how they are, like how mature, how good are their ideas. But I also would more so condone college just because it gives you a really good experience in the real world. But however, if that's not your calling, if you really feel like you don't belong there, don't go. I don't think that there's a point in trying to force someone to change their mind. So at the end of the day, I think it's really case by case. But for me personally, I loved my college experience. It put me so many opportunities. It really helped me go to where I am today.
And not to mention, there is quite an expense nowadays in college. I mean, it used to be not so
Right.
bad, but when I used to go to college and I used to ride my horse to school every day.
Yeah, I mean, college is expensive. I mean, I didn't go to a very expensive college, and my parents were fortunate. I was very fortunate enough for my parents to have had money, but I worked every single semester. I worked summers. I went to school in the summers. I really had to make it work. My mom said because again, Hispanic family, Hispanic background, she said that if you want to go away to school, you have to pay for your stay. I'm willing to pay for your tuition, but you have to figure out your living and your expenses aside from school on your own.
Oh, my mom had me on a budget too. She'd give me a certain amount of money, and then if I needed more money, I'd have to write out like a loan application. So.
Yeah, I do have student loans.
No, I'm talking about loans to my mom. My parents.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't have so I had student loans, etc. But if I needed, I need $300, she'd go, well, send me your expenses, send me your income. How are you going to pay me back?
I think that's great parenting. It teaches responsibility.
Well, she did. My mom did teach me responsibility like that because it was very easy to get a loan after that. Because if I could get it through my mom, I could get it through any banker. It was easier.
That's true.
So, anyway, we are going to take a break. Now, in the beginning, you didn't have an income. So what did you do when you started out? And we only have about a minute. You'll have to come back for the rest of the answer.
Yeah, so my first client, it wasn't too difficult. Again, I was knocking on doors around Gainesville. I was DMing people in my community, offering social media guidance, social media consulting, and my first client paid me $400 a month, and she was my client for about 3 or 4 months. I was just making $400 a month. Other than that, I was really relying on Pita-Pit. I relied on some student loans, but I was living in a shoebox. My apartment was gross. It was like infested with like nasty little critters everywhere. But it was college, right? And like my needs weren't super high. I didn't care about the lack. I really just cared more about the abundance and the potential and the opportunity. And that's how I still am to now today. Like everyone listening, there's so much money out there to be made. There's so many people to serve. There's so many ideas to put into action, and you have to be the one to go ahead and do that.
We're going to be right back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM on AskBrien.com.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weider Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weider Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weider Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit weiderprime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
If you have a business problem, if someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com.
Southern California Edison wants to help you and your family stay safe around electricity. Whether you're on the job or in the yard, coming into contact with a power line can hurt you. Always keep yourself and any tools or objects at least 10 feet away from power lines. Never approach or touch any downed wire or any person or object in contact with it. Call 911. Go to on.sce.com/stay safe for more safety tips. Stay aware, stay safe.
It's dream season at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and your hometown station has your way in to experience a superhero collection of the most world-class coasters at the thrill capital of the world. With the most coasters, you can go for a loop at Six Flags any day of the week. Keep listening to your hometown station for your chance to win a day of Six Flags thrills for free. Not a winner? You can still get super deals on tickets, season passes, and memberships when you visit sixflags.com today.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome to the Ask Brien Show. The following is paid programming and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien Radio Show, AskBrien.com. And we're here with our co-host, Lindsey Mann, and our special guest, Isabella Silverio. And we're talking about how somebody, and by the way, she's extremely young, extremely successful in listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Lindsey, I thought you had one more question you wanted to ask her?
Yeah, Isabella did this all on her own, and we know that you've done the design work, you've coded before, and this must have helped you out with your pocketbook by a lot. So tell us, how did you make that work, and what was it hard? What services did you use to keep the price down?
Yeah, so again, thank you, Lindsey and Brien, for having me on. When it came to investing in my business, I think there always needs to be some type of skin in the game when you first start out. So I decided to invest in like a website developer company. There's Wix, is really affordable. That's the one I first used. And I did all the design work myself. I designed the whole website, the contact page, the about page, the services page, and I set up my own SEO. Again, I had all of the knowledge background from working in startups. And the cost probably to start up was about like less than $300, maybe a little bit over that, $300 US. And I didn't really start a business to make money. It wasn't until I got my first client, and she was seeing incredible results in her business. And then I got my next 5 clients, and their businesses were taking off just from my advice. And it kind of just steamrolled and snowballed from there. Now I have over 100 clients, both in group programs and online course platforms and one-on-one. I have an entire digital product suite. And scaling does take money. You do need to invest back into your business. We have a run rate of over 5 figures, so you can kind of imagine that there's a lot of responsibility when it comes to hiring a team. At 23 years old, I'm responsible for livelihoods, for futures, and not just for my team, but for my clients. So I really try to make it as cost-effective for my business and the bottom line as possible. But I'm not afraid to invest in something that I need to get to the next level or to benefit the business overall, because what matters the most are my clients' results, the value of the program, and of course I my health. The burnout rate can be real if you're always on calls, coaching for 6 hours a day. So minimizing burnout and not being afraid to outsource.
Now, on outsourcing, how do you determine, how do you do that? So, for instance, anyone can go out and hire somebody, right? What do you look for when you're trying to outsource a product or service?
Yeah, so I really believe that if you're going to outsource something, you should know how to do it yourself first. So that way the person you're hiring may not potentially get away with something not to par to the quality that you would do for yourself if you're that inner perfectionist like myself. But really the way I've found the people who I hired is just from, again, like my inner circle, my team, people I trust, people who are not just kind of coming in and proposing their services to me. It's always by word of mouth from really highly recommended people, which is what I would keep it at. And if it's not a right fit, there's no pressure to hire anyone. I was guilted into hiring people, just because they were really nice or I feel like it could work, but deep down my gut always told me no, and now I've just followed that so much closer.
Isabella, how can more people find you?
Absolutely. So if you want to find me and talk to me, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Isabella, Isabella, which is like a period, Guava, Guava, or you can find me inside my private Facebook group community, the Instagram Squad by Isabella Silverio. If you just type that in the Facebook bar, I'm sure you'll be able to find it.
Thank you very much. You've been a great guest and good guy.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Over and out, Roger.